Hello, and welcome to the Rankin Report for Sunday, May the 11th, 2025. Thank you for joining me today, and happy Mother's Day to those of you who are mothers, those of you who have mothers, and those of you who are in the action or the office of a mother, even if it's not the same thing. There are those who stand in that office and who perform that service. From the book of 2 Kings, chapter 5, verse 26b. This is Elisha the prophet speaking to his servant Gehazi. Is this the time to take money, or to accept clothes, or olive groves and vineyards, or flocks and herds, or male and female slaves? Then moving on to later down the road in 2 Kings, just a moment. Moving on in 2 Kings to 2 Kings chapter 18, verses 17 and 22. The king of Assyria sent his supreme commander, a fellow named Sennacherib, his chief officer, and his field commander with a large army from Lachish to King Hezekiah at Jerusalem. They came up to Jerusalem and stopped at the aqueduct of the upper pool on the road to the washerman's field. And picking up at verse 22, but if you say to me, we are depending on the Lord our God, isn't he the one whose high places and altars Hezekiah removed, saying to Judah and Jerusalem, you must worship before this altar in Jerusalem? And finally, from the Gospel of John, chapter 5, verse 44, Jesus is speaking. How can you believe, since you accept glory from one another, but do not seek the glory that comes from the only God? This is what the Lord, the God of the United States, says. As the Great Awakening grows, my people must put aside their desires for riches, fame, and honor, and seek first my kingdom and my righteousness, as my son told you. And that reference is in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33. Do you not know that such earthly things mean nothing, but will pass away, and are being used by Satan as a snare for you? Now is the time to build up my kingdom and bring souls into it. The nations that are under Satan's influence, and even the people of this country under the same, will fight to keep their power and will try to make you think that you are alone in the world. But a people who follow me are never alone, for I will fight for them. The time of the great persecution has not yet come. I am delaying it in order to bring souls into my kingdom. Use this time, then, to reclaim the nation for me and to bring the gospel to the world, as I planned for the founders of your nation, who pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. We're going to need to watch out for many things in the coming days. Things that the awakening that are going to try to appear like the awakening, but are in fact efforts to please the flesh and self. For example, I'm sure there will be some trying to make a lot of money by jumping on the bandwagon, as it were. Already on some programs on network television, you see shows that deal in talent turning a lot more to having gospel nights and having singers who have done gospel work, as if it were trying to capitalize on the latest fad. But this is not a fad or a way to be different or set yourself apart from others. This is not even a peculiar form of youthful rebellion. As in 1967, the finale episode of the British TV series The Prisoner, Fallout, in analyzing the forms of rebellion, made the following comment: "Youth, with its enthusiasms, which rebels against any accepted norm because it must, and we sympathize. It may wear flowers in its hair, bells on its toes." This is from the 60s, after all. "But when the common good is threatened, when the function of society is endangered, such revolts must cease, as they are non-productive and must be abolished." But the Great Awakening cannot be, will not be abolished, try as many will. By abandonment of what the world has been deceived into thinking of as the common good or even the norm, and turning to the gospel, those accepting Jesus in this great move of God automatically take a stand against Satan's stolen kingdom. He will try to drive a wedge between believers and the rest of society. Probably through, this is not the right way to find the common good. The right way to find the common good is over here or over here. Oftentimes it will point to socialism. Not so much through outright lies, but by twisting the truth into resembling his point of view rather than God's. Already I'm hearing politicians, mind you, claiming that they hope to one day find a trans Jesus. And you probably might, but I doubt seriously it's going to be in heaven. Satan's rather skilled at twisting the truth, and he does it in a variety of ways. And it's much like the commander of the army of Assyria, Sennacherib, tried to drive a wedge between the people of Judah and King Hezekiah, hoping to capitalize on any resentment of the Judeans of the king's reforms, getting rid of all the high places, tearing down every altar that does not worship God. The point is, the nation's current crisis is far more than a mere discussion over politics. At its heart is a spiritual conflict. Whose influence will we accept? God's or the world's? The latter being seeming increasingly under the control of Satan. And this brings up a really easy way to know which kingdom influences your decision. If the choice appeals to ego, vanity, or greed, the odds are it's not from God. And we cannot afford to make appeals to self in this time, for God's desire is and has always been that the lost be saved and brought into his kingdom. He has acted on our plans for the Great Awakening and has begun the great move. Now we must respond in kind to him. What shall we do? Use godliness as a way to make earthly riches and honor for ourselves, as Paul warned against in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 5, or seek the greater and eternal gain of the kingdom. The prophet Elisha understood this, as he said to his servant Gehazi in the first passage that we heard. After Naaman, the servant of the king of Assyria, was cleansed of his leprosy by obeying the prophet's command to wash 7 times in the Jordan River, Gehazi thought that Elisha let an enemy of Israel get off a little too easily and went after Naaman to get some gold and a set of clothes. Well, if you know the story, Gehazi got those all right and more than he bargained for, after being rebuked by Elisha for not realizing the true nature of service to God and settling for mere earthly stuff. Gehazi also acquired the leprosy that was on Naaman. This is not about political power or vengeance upon our adversaries. The former is fleeting, and the latter is God's concern. It is about rescuing the nation and, by extension, the world and its people from eternal death. People talk of seeing the 40,000-foot view of things, but our perspective needs to be higher still, that of heaven itself. By the way, as we all know by now, a new pope was elected in Rome this past Thursday, the first American to hold the position. And I certainly wish him congratulations. As with so many things, if you listen to the media, especially social media, long enough, you'll encounter the old two talking heads, three opinions phenomenon. It's usually limited to economics, but it goes into other areas as well. As Leo the 14th just got the job, I'm not going to comment on his election except to quote Matthew 7:20. Thus, by their fruit, you will know them. The fruit is either going to be good or bad, depending on who he is listening to. Give the guy a chance. Keep him in prayer, even those of us who are not Roman Catholic, and keep your eyes instead on what he does in office. Pray for the Great Awakening. No king but Jesus. Independence forever. That's the Rankin Report for Sunday, May the 11th, 2025. Don't forget to hit the like or share buttons or both, or the subscribe button if you wish to see more of these videos. Please keep in prayer the folks in California, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and Florida who are still recovering from the damage of earthquakes, fires, and floods. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Have a great day.